Hey everybody, this is Chad Holker with Holker's Herps. Stay tuned for Her Purple Saturday nights at 10.
It says here we should work in teams. I tend to think of myself as a one-man wolf pack.
You are about to enter information overload, a worldwide transmission with Her Parade's featured Breeder of the Week. Here's your host, Jason Rossi.
I would like to welcome you back to Her Parade, a weekly worldwide transmission. I'm your host, Jason Rossi. We are simulcasting on RossiReptiles.com, Buzzsprout, and don't forget to subscribe and download us on iTunes. This week's featured breed of the week has produced quite a few outstanding combos this season, and we're glad to have them on the archives. Chad Holker from Holker's Herps is this week's special guest. Chad, welcome to Her Parade.
Hey Jason, thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you taking time out, man. I know you're a busy gentleman, so thank you for coming out and talking with us.
I wouldn't miss it.
All right, so why don't you explain the Platy Daddy gene to us?
I'm probably one of the few people that actually didn't get my my Platy gene from Ralph. I'm one of the lucky guys that actually had my gene just kind of pop up out of one of my normal females in 2010. So, I mean, I was very surprised. I took pictures of the clutch. I actually have had an 8-egg clutch from just a lesser. I was just dinking around with a lesser to a normal clutch. It was something I was just trying to hold back more lesser females or whatever, and I ended up popping out 4 or 2.2 platies out of there, and I sent pictures to Ralph and put it on BP.net, and everybody pretty much confirmed it at the time that those were actually Platy Daddies instead of just, Ghost or whatever, it could have been in there at the time. But, yeah, I mean, I was totally stoked to have that, and then I made sure I keep pretty decent records on what female laid what clutch and whatever, so I knew exactly which female, gave me those Platies, and I was lucky enough to, I wasn't lucky enough because I didn't get her to go for me in 2011. She put on plenty of weight and was ready to go, and I put her to, I think, like a lesser B male at the time, and I was hoping to hit, the first Platy spider because Ralph hadn't done that quite yet. So picked up another. I really wanted to get farther into this Platy gene because, the only thing I'd seen combo-wise from Platies for the last, 10 years or however long Ralph Davis has been working with them is I think he hit like a pastel in 2010. So I really wanted to get bigger into these combos and do something else with them that nobody else was doing. So I picked up a super pastel lesser pen male, and I was able to get that plugged into that female for this past season, and I was able to hit the first pastel platinum pinstripe, which is a Platy Blast. So I was super excited about that, and it's aging really, really well and coloring up really well. So I think, the Platy gene has been, in my opinion, pretty stagnant over the past 10 years, and I think a lot of the attention or a lot of the interest was awesome when Ralph first started hatching these things, and as time went on, I think the lack of combos kind of kept, I think people's interest faded on it a little bit, and so, I mean, you'd see a platinum animal here and there, but nobody was really ranting and raving over them anymore until I think this Platy Blast I hit on sparked some interest a little bit more, and I really do like the gene. I like how it keeps a lot more contrast, and it does not completely fade it out and lack a pattern. It actually holds a lot of good strong pattern and good color still. Like unlike I love crystals to death, but when you start adding pastel and super pastel, you're looking at a real faded animal, and I'm definitely a big pattern guy. So I'm really interested in seeing some of these, nice light colored animals with some strong pattern left.
So if I'm saving the siblings from my butter clutches, is that a chance that I might have that het Platy gene?
Yeah, the butter lesser, the BEL side is only 1/2 of it. I mean, it's what I understand. I mean, the way Ralph Davis explained it is the way I'm seeing it in my line as well. is that the normal gene, I shouldn't say normal gene because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that, say, het platy gene is basically on the same allele as the lesser, butter, Mojave, phantom, whatever you want to put at it on that same complex. The platy gene will attach itself to that and show you a two-gene visual, which would be your platy daddy or butter daddy or whatever you have. And it has done the same thing. I think Jeff Lumen hit on the Mojave daddy a year or two ago. And if you see, look back on Ralph Davis's records several years ago, he hit on like a phantom one. He calls them phantom 44s. But the gene is not, it doesn't really lighten those animals as much. It really works best with like the lesser and butter complex. It's a lot more visual with those.
Yeah, my daughter was looking at the Platiator, and she's like, "Is that Ghost?" She's 10 years old, and I was like, "No, but
looks like a ghost." Yeah.
I was telling her about that, and why don't you tell us about that one?
What's that?
Why don't you tell us about the Platiator?
Oh yeah. That's I actually, when I hashed it, it's actually what it is. It's a Platy Daddy Lemon Blast. So it's got the Het Daddy gene, lesser, pastel, and pinstripe all in one animal. So when I was, a lot of my local friends and my snake buddies, I was trying to think of a cool name for that combo, since it was the first time I ever produced something that was unique like that. And my buddy just threw out the Platiator out there, and it just stuck. I had to go with it. So yeah, I bred like I said earlier, I bred a super pastel lesser pin to my het platy female, and so the lesser and the het platy linked up with, the other two genes in there, and that's the combo there. So I have big plans for that stuff. I really, there's not a whole lot of people working with platies. I'm not sure where the interest level is on it, but I'm super interested in it, so I want to take it a lot farther and, put a lot more genes in there and see what we're looking at.
What genes do you have planned to plug in there?
Well, what I really want to do is, like I have a nice pastel platy male pretty much ready to breed now, or he will be ready real soon. So what I'd really like to do is make a lot more het combos, and that's really what's going to help, because I mean there's het platies out there. There's not a whole lot, but I've never seen many animals. I mean, I've been trying to keep up with Ralph Davis and what he's doing a little bit, but there's only a very small handful of, say Inchy or Spider or pastel true het platies, or you're looking, think about Bumblebee or Killer Bee or, Sting or any of those combos that are het platy going back into your lesser combos. I mean, in my opinion, I think that's going to make some really, really cool stuff, especially seeing the combos that I've produced this year. I can't wait to make bigger and better things with it.
What else platy did you create this year?
Just I produced 2 pastel platies, which, I mean, those are really nice. It's very, very hard to photograph those and get accurate pictures to where they look like, in person, like they look in the pictures. I'm a crappy photographer. Yeah, they're cool. And the thing that's different about them than the regular platy is obviously just the contrast of them. That they have much more. It's like a real soft, buttery yellow, and then like that silvery background. It's really neat looking. They're definitely looking good with age.
Your granite pastels are pretty hot too, man. Is that guy, girl?
Yeah, this granite line, it's another story in itself. That super pastel lesser pin that I was telling you about, the one I actually hatched the Platiators with, it actually has another gene, which I found this year after breeding it. It's some type of really cool, it's a genetic granite line. I don't really even like calling it granite, because I finally tracked back this past year, after hatching all these weird granity and stripy, really odd animals. I traced back the original animals to the original breeder, and he was producing a lot of that stuff, and he just called it granite, and he had that in his line from years ago, and hadn't really done a whole lot with it. He hatched a lot of combos, but he really never advertised that gene real well. And nothing wrong with that, but since I started hatching some bigger combos with it, some of the lesser and lesser pastel, all those combos, that gene really started